Hello everyone, how's it going? And today, in light of speedruns, we have been asked to do a Millennium 2 speedrun. So that is what I will be doing. Let's start with the rules. The rules of the speedrun. Rule 1, this is a story mode run, which means we're going to play on the story mode difficulty. Rule 2, the speedrun starts when we actually press the first button, namely import. When we press enter on this screen, preparing a cola so that we're not dehydrated throughout the run. When we press import, that is when the run starts, not later, not earlier. Rule 3, obviously that means we're gonna import. It is allowed. Rule 4, this is any percent, so killing the final boss is the only requirement here, and that is when it actually, that is the only thing that I have to do. The run ends when I save the game to be imported for Millennium 3. That is the save point, as we shall call it. Now, Millennium 2, obviously, we'll talk a bit about the game as we play, but most of the important things we're not actually going to get to because we're going to try and speedrun the game. So, without further ado, let's start. So, right away, we're going to import our game from Millennium 1, and that is actually going to be a pretty much perfectly completed Millennium 1. So yes, that is going to be a very good save file. Now, there's a lot of reasons why one could argue that we're not going to do this, import stuff, but there's a couple items in this game that are just too good to pass up on. So that is why I decided to do it. Now the game is going to ask me about a couple of things. First of all, we're going to meet all the main characters again, like Jean, Benoit, Karen, Hirado. Actually, I'm not sure if the other games even do this. So the game is actually going to ask us what difficulty we want to play in, and we are going to choose story mode. We prefer to be guided just in case. We prefer invisible encounters, although I don't really know how that works with what am I trying to say here? I'm not entirely sure what you can escape from and what you can't escape from. But from having tried the previous game, this probably should be a bit faster. Now, as with anything, the start is usually the most important part. So we are actually going to go ahead and equip our gear right away, since otherwise we would be stuck doing a lot of things that aren't necessary. Actually, we know we want the articulate shoulder, yep. What was I looking for here? No, that's it. That's it. That's it. Seal of the Brave. There you go. As for Corinne, we are going to give her the rope, hatchet. Actually, no, we're not going to give her anything. We're going to give her the iron fists. Sure. Right. So this is a bit of a slow start there, I guess. Not really too important. I guess we waste the first minute on that. But that is entirely fine. Now the arrows throughout the game are actually going to help us decide where we're meant to go. And they do help a little bit. I won't say that they're like the most useful in the world, but I mean, once you know how to run the game, they become a little bit obsolete because I already know where to go. And the escape makes it so that we can actually escape from most situations pretty quickly. We just have to look at the game like, can I run from this fight or can I not run from this fight? The thing with visible enemies is that they kind of make an average amount of encounters. And you're always going to encounter X amount of monsters with visible encounters because of set locations or monsters that don't move. And I don't know if those monsters that don't move, if they're not in this game when you turn on invisible encounters. So that is something that we'll have to learn. We'll have to see for ourselves. That'll be interesting. And so we're entering the town hall here, and then we're gonna have our first conversation with Lord Borgon, someone who luckily we don't have to talk to too much in this run. So obviously this isn't the shortest game. This isn't the shortest game in the world. But it's definitely not a long game either. So a speedrun of this game is pretty feasible. all in all. And if you know what to do and who to talk to, you can do it a lot faster than my previous best. I think my previous... I'm not going to say what my previous best was, because that was with a couple tricks. But if you do know how to run the game, I'm pretty sure that you can do this pretty fast, honestly. I want to say, like, sub an hour and a half is what I want to say. Although maybe I'm completely underestimating how fast you can do this. Maybe I'm completely overestimating how fast you can do this. Dialogue is definitely slow. That is the main thing that we're noticing. But we can luckily spam through that. Alright. And there we go for a second conversation with Borgon. This one a lot shorter. So we're clocking in at probably about 5 minutes when we leave Mist Rock, which is an interesting time. It's a pretty easy time to remember. It's probably going to be like a little bit more than 5 minutes because we can't run faster than we're running right now. I'd say 5 minutes, like 10. Oh, that guy just had to be in the way. You can see Bogdan in the bottom left there, but he's actually not required for anything, so you don't actually have to talk to him. And now we're at 5:10. I was 2 seconds late with my prediction, but you know, whatever. All right, so Hirado is actually going to leave us. Very sad. Goodbye, Hirado. We're gonna miss you so much. Yeah, we're gonna miss you so much. No, we're not. And this is actually where the first hard part of the game comes, because there is, well, a hard part, you know. Oh no, why did I leave? Why did I leave? That's valuable seconds that we lose. So we're in the Shrine of Mist here. The only reason we're here is because we want to promote our characters as fast as possible. And we want to promote them to Shiva, Handmaster, and Baroness. Now, there is a pretty lucky thing tied to that. Namely, those are also the first ones in every promotion list. Because the game actually puts your special promotions, if you have seals, above the... Oh my god, I'm messing up so much. Above the regular promotions. Which is good, because that means that we get to actually skip stuff. But we don't have to check that, we don't have to pay attention to it. The only thing we really have to pay attention to is this rumbling, because that is going to, I think, knock us. Yep, knock us in here. Now you would be forgiven if you thought that you had to switch that lever or anything. You actually don't, interestingly enough. Like, you don't have to flip that switch. Alright, so we're gonna talk to Norman for the first time, and interestingly enough, like, this is actually one of the few times that we're gonna talk to him this game. Like, normally he's pretty important in this game, but you can actually skip over him so hard. It's pretty funny. He is not mandatory at all. Like, you'd be forgiven if you thought that he's mandatory, and that, like, the section of the game with him in it is something that you have to do, but it's not. Something which I only recently learned. Or, well, I mean, mandatory. It's what you want to call mandatory. Obviously, the part with him is mandatory, but you don't, like, it's a lot shorter if you know where to go than you would think, I think. Alright, so now right here, the thing about Gravitron is we don't really have any equipment for him, I think. I don't know by heart. No, we don't. Okay, we can go. So that's a couple seconds that you can skip. That orb is, you can't avoid that orb, but you can avoid the second orb right here by just not walking into it, obviously, which is actually going to save you a couple seconds. I mean, it's the value you assign to that type of thing. Alright, so now right here we are going to call Jean right away, and then the other characters are just going to focus on attacking this guy, the big one. We don't have to focus on anything else because Jean is actually going to use her Sparkle skill to deal the rest of the damage. And then this guy is going to deal some damage, but he is so entirely ignorable. Like, no joke, he is completely ignorable. Not to mention that the damage you deal really is not that bad either, if you did do the promotions. And especially not to mention that Jean actually acts twice because of the item that we gave her. Is that useful? Yes, it is useful a lot of the time. For instance, right here, where we actually managed to kill the boss. There we go. So, is it useful for her to have that item? For you to have John act twice? Yes. Simply because, all in all, it really helps a lot. Alright. So now Corinne is leaving too. That's why we didn't equip her with anything important. Because if you equip her with the wrong gear, or the most important gear for this boss fight here, you're kind of getting screwed over by the fact that she can't, that she's gonna leave, and like you don't get to keep her equipment. Alright, so Norman also leaves. Haha. What a major bummer. Yes, you're right, Marin. What a major bummer. So I believe that we're going back to green grass now. Well, Borgon is going to comment. And we're at the 10-minute mark here, so... $10-minute mark. Honestly, I wouldn't know like how bad that is or how good that is. 10 minutes seems pretty okay, but you know, the issue with RPGs is that you never know like how long are they meant to be, because you can skip a lot of stuff in some of them. You can't skip anything in some of them. Like I'm thinking stuff like Avion has a reasonable amount of skippable stuff, but a lot of the side quests are actually mandatory quests that like wrap up the story a bit. And like if you don't do them, you can't actually complete main quests either. So, you know, that there's not that much wiggle room in those games. But in this game, or say Laxius Force, where you can basically skip half the game, or more than half the game, if you don't do a single side quest, you know, there's a case to be made. Now, over here, we need to talk to Merlin. And the important part is that, like, if you keep talking to her, she will keep talking. You need to move to the side and then let her move aside, and then you can continue. And then you'll notice that there's a letter on the ground, so we need to open this letter. Spam through this. We can do this. We can do this. We can spam through the dialogue. We're fine. We're fine. And then we're back with Lord Borgon and Lord Dagon. Is it Lord Dagon or Lord Dragon? I actually don't know. And I can't see it. Oh, it is Lord Dragon. Who knew? I have dyslexia. Don't hate me. I can't help it. Dragon seemed like a weird name, that's all. I don't want to record my progress. Stop asking me to do that. Alright, so now this next part of the game is basically where we start having actual shortcuts. AKA, this is where we actually start having certain tricks or segments that can be skipped as long as you know what you're doing. They're not really speedrun strats though, because there's not much, like, you can do this stuff in a normal playthrough too at the same speed if you know what you're doing. Like if you're just looking to get a save file for Millennium 3, then this is essentially how you would go about doing that. Like there isn't that much more to be said about it. Now obviously some of the major differences between story mode and other modes is, I think the biggest one is that you don't have access to like all the animal kings. Only like, I don't know, like 2? 3? 2? It's 2 or 3. Only 2 or 3 or 4 of the animal kings are actually available. Which is obviously not a damn lot of the animal kings, because they're the animal kings. Now you'll notice that we're really like cleaving through this. That is because of the promotions. If you don't have the promotion, this is so much slower. Which is essentially why we opt to actually go for the promotions. Now you'll notice if Marin doesn't crit, you don't really deal that much damage. But she does get to go twice, and she does crit quite a lot. I don't know why she crits so much, but she does. I'm assuming it's speed related, like probably the higher your speed, the higher the crit rate. That is what I'm guessing. And then we have our third fight here. This one is pretty hard if you don't know what you're doing. If you're relying on, like, say, Jean to help you, this one might actually be a little bit difficult. Alright, so we're in the forest, and we're in the forest at the 14-minute mark. So that is actually a pretty good time to reach the forest. We could talk to that guy, but we really don't have to. Avoid the orb so that you don't accidentally end up with the message that costs you another couple seconds. Now, I think it's possible to progress through this game only by using the baskets, because they give you some XP, and I think it is actually pretty possible to, like, level up only by using the baskets throughout the game. I haven't tried that though, and I have no intention of trying it, so it is whatever you make of it. Try it if you want to. Alright, so we get surprised here, and this is pretty bad because these things can actually auto-kill anything, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use one of our very few adult Mandragoras here to revive Benoit. That is pretty unlucky that we get ambushed there. The ambush chance, I don't know what the ambush chance is, but we can skip the spiders. They're not that important. Now this spider, on the other hand, is a lot less skippable. And yeah, so we're gonna hit it a couple times. Now you'll notice Marin isn't really dealing any damage, and this thing actually does deal quite some damage. Benoit gets an adrenaline rush, but that's not enough. And so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna use Jean to heal. And I say we're gonna use her to heal, I mean we're gonna use her to heal a lot. And that is actually why we are using Jean, using the double skill item for Jean, even though it does slow us down because it does summon that menu every single time. The fact is that if we don't need her, we won't summon her, and if we do need her, then we probably need her to heal. We don't really need Jean to deal damage for us. So that is essentially why. A second factor is that the item actually makes it so that Jean's primary, like, first move that she does actually happens first instead of sometimes last in a turn. Which is pretty important because you want Jean to heal before all the bad stuff happens. Or you want her to attack before all the bad stuff happens. So we're going to get ambushed by an owl here. Which is going to count as a surprise attack. I don't really know why. Because, I mean, it was pretty obvious that it was coming. But, you know, whatever. And we get to continue all the way south. And there's a reason why we haven't healed up properly yet. It's because once this fight here... Once this section is over, we can actually heal at this spot right there. We're actually going to be able to heal up. So we don't really have a reason to do anything else. So this guy's going to mention that our mom's alive. To this point, I'm actually not entirely sure who that is. Like, I've played the game, and I'm still not entirely sure. Like, who is that guy? Because, like, as you're about to find out in a couple seconds... Well, a couple seconds. Maybe I'm being a bit optimistic here. Right, so we're gonna enjoy a quick rest here. The reason we're enjoying a quick rest here and nowhere else is because this is the one that we're actually at. You don't have to take another step to use it. You're literally right there. There is gonna be another one later on where we can rest pretty easily, but I don't like that one because you do have to walk up to it and pay for it. That's the worst part. even if we have all the money in the world, like it's the principle of having to pay that. Okay, so you can't walk through those flowers. So you see, like there's new stuff that you learn even when doing a run. All right, so these chicks, I've never encountered these chicks in my previous runs. Invisible enemies does seem to be a little bit more my thing. Alright, so now you could go straight towards the Toad Swamp, but that would be a mistake, especially if you're trying to do a speedrun, because you need an item to be able to get through the Toad Swamp properly. And that item is going to be found over here in the shop. The animation, the stuff is so slow at times. And then we leave right away. There's nothing more that we can do here. So we're just going to straight leave. No, I don't want to enter this house. No, what am I doing? Oh my lord. So this run definitely has room for improvement. Make no mistake. Now once you're through here, we wanna go up here because this is where the famous Toad Swamp is. Apparently that spy is the guy that attacked us. So as was said, it's not the same as the guy that the brown hooded guy. I still don't know who that brown hooded guy is, to be honest. Like obviously I have a guess, but he was pretty eloquent. So, alright, so this is D. Yes, D. That's her name. Here's the thing though. D has an attack animation that is so freaking slow, and she is so freaking useless that we are just going to put her in the reserve instead of actually using her. And now you might wonder, like, okay, why are we doing that? Extra party member is always good. Well, she's just not that useful. Her animation is slow, and generally speaking, like, unless something major happens, which it doesn't, by the way, Marin plus Benoit has this covered, this part. So we're just gonna casually continue, obviously. Now there's a really good reason why we're not grinding any of these enemies, and that reason is it's not necessary. Now I know that might sound like a stupid reason, but the fact is, at this point in the game, there is no reason to grind the enemies. Whereas later in the game, and later in the game is a very relative term since we're almost there. Like, it's not that much later. But later on in the game, there is going to be a couple enemies that give very good XP just for killing them like once or twice. So it makes a lot more sense, obviously, to try and grind there instead of trying to grind here, which is objectively speaking a bad place to grind when it's not necessary, right? So yeah, that's the logic that we're using for all the running. Now we're over here, and now we need to sacrifice something, and the game doesn't really tell you what it is. It only tells you it's some meat of the swamp. It's exquisite monkey meat. And if you didn't buy exquisite monkey meat yet, then yeah, that sucks. Because you wouldn't have, you know, you wouldn't have it. Not there. You don't have it. You have to go back to Schumann. All the way. All the way back to Schumann. So this grave scene is a bit annoying to me because it's such a weird. Like, I know why it happens, I know how it happens, and you'll find out how it happens and stuff soon enough. But it's a bit of a depressing concept, I suppose. So yeah, okay. Anyways, moving on. We are obviously trying to get through the game as fast as possible. And we're at the 22-minute mark, 40. So Dee actually stays with us, but that really doesn't matter because we're not keeping her. Like, she's not in the party. I don't care. Alright, and then Abu's gonna have a little conversation with someone we don't know. Ooh, who could it be? Who could it be? Ooh, who could that be? She's ugly. Woo. And at around about the 23-minute mark, we actually get out of the swamp. Well, out of the cutscene, obviously. Now, for those of you that seem to think, hey, Abu, that guy looked great. I want to meet him. I want to talk to him. I think I like him. I have good news for you. He's not gone. No, sirree. He is... Well, I mean, he is gone, but... So 2 encounters here, that is about the same as with visible enemies, except with visible enemies, you can technically avoid them. But now there's a third encounter, so I think visible enemies definitely is better if you're good at avoiding stuff. Now, Abu is going to rejoin us any minute now, and honestly, I have no clue exactly where he does it, but he is going to rejoin us. There we go. So there's 2 more enemies here when you have visible encounters that are very hard to avoid, which is kind of made up by the fact that, like, right there. Okay, so now Abu joins us. Don't ask me how he outsped us because we were going as fast as we can, but, you know. Alright. And so now we're going to equip Abu with the Hunter Trident. Now, the Hunter Trident might seem like a bit of a weird choice for Abu, but there is a very good reason why we're giving it to him. I don't know if we actually equipped him with a priority item, but that's okay. He should be able to outspeed most things anyways. The point is the Hunter Trident actually has a good chance of auto-killing enemies, which is very useful, going to be very useful in a little bit when we're trying to deal with the armored spiders in Schumann and in the in Gargantine's territory. We're gonna have to deal with a lot of various types of enemies, and at that point it is going to be very useful to have someone that can actually one-shot a lot of enemies straight away. So we're gonna enter Schumann again, and this time we are here under slightly different circumstances. This time we are going to head to the inn straight away, which is basically the same as what we did last time, but you know, whatever. Now, I don't know what happens if you come here the first time and if you read this article the first time. I only know what happens if you talk to her the second time. I don't know why it walked to the right. That is not what. That's not what the. I must have pressed it with my ring finger. Alright, so we're talking to Jezebel here, and she's going to mention that her griffin flew away. She wants to get the griffin back. Marin's gonna say that she's gonna prove that she's strong enough to help Jezebel get her griffin back. So you have to realize this is a bit of a skewed concept, isn't it? Like, Marin has to prove that she's strong enough to help her. Like, it's kind of funny if you ask me. Anyways, we need to talk to this guy, and Olafsson here is going to offer us to help, and then well, no, he's not gonna offer us to help. He's gonna refuse, actually. And then Jezebel's gonna show up, and Jezebel's gonna be like, hey, you should let him in. Let him try. Which, I mean, it's kind of odd that Jezebel knew that she had to come here, but I suppose I can see some logic in it. Now, this is actually the hardest part of the game. You have to kill all of these spiders in this place. And we actually get an auto kill here, which is really good. Auto kill's good. Auto kill's very good. Auto kill's always good. And this is like, if you don't auto kill them, they deal quite a lot of damage, which is why I want John here. But yeah, now see, that's why it's so useful. She attacks once at the start and once at the end. But I'm pretty sure we can just rush these. Like, the thing is, if Abu just gets his kill, his auto kill, this becomes a lot easier, obviously. Like, I know that's very obvious. Like, oh yeah, if he gets the auto kill, this fight's a lot shorter. Yeah, no shit. Of course it's gonna be shorter if someone gets an auto kill. But the main point is that, there we go. Just having him gives you that chance on an auto kill. Okay, so here's the difficult part. So these things on the right are actually immune to a lot of damage. Like, they resist so much damage. But Abu had the chance of one-shotting them with his Hunter Trident because that thing has an auto-kill effect. Now, up here in the top room, there is, in fact, a way to make it go a little bit faster. Like just the tiniest little bit faster, right? So don't pretend that I said anything else than just a tiny little bit faster. Now, first of all, we're going to have to beat down the spider nest. Now, if Abu gets the instant kill on the spider nest, we're basically golden, because that is going to deal a lot of damage to the spider nest, and then we can proceed in taking down the spider. Now, if Abu doesn't get the auto kill on the spider nest, we're going to have to do this. And that's where Jean, once again, is useful, because her red shrapnels are pretty good against spider nests. Now, this thing is protected still, and for some reason, it doesn't actually lose that protection, which is a little bit annoying. But okay. Abu's gonna kill it with his skill, so that's great. And now we're up against other enemies. No auto kill there. Very annoying. But yeah, we're like, this is really is just how it goes. Like, we're praying for the auto kill on Abu's end, because without the auto kill, we're really not dealing enough damage to get through this part. And this thing likes to defend, which is really costing us a lot of time, but you don't have a choice in this section. Like, you can't choose to ignore these enemies. You have to kill them. No choice in that department. I mean, you do have a choice, but if you don't kill them, then you don't progress. So, you see where I'm going with this. Technically speaking, you really don't have a choice. And factually speaking, you don't have a choice either. The only choice you have is to just not do the speedrun. Which would be a weird choice. Alright, so we kill that spider, and then there's one in here. There's like another wave in here. Which, if you don't know about it, I suppose could lose you some time. Because you're like, okay, well, I'm trying to find this last wave and I can't find them. Where are they? It could happen, I suppose. Anyways, we're gonna summon Jean, and Jean, hello Jean. Red shrapnels, please. And then you're meant to ask me what else I would like. Now you'll notice with the mithril armor, like, Marin really isn't taking any damage, which is pretty freaking funny. Now, you have Jean summoned anyways. She can heal once and then attack once, especially if you already know that you're gonna win this round. You might as well use Jean to heal the party, because that is actually going to be a massive boon if she does heal the party there. Now, keep in mind, you see those sparkles up top. That is a secret room. One of the more obvious secret rooms in the game. We're not going to collect it, because why would we? We are going to kill this one, though. So you notice, like, this is definitely one of the more time-consuming parts of the game. Mostly because you have to fight all these enemies. But on the other hand, it is also one of the best, like, easiest to grind sections of the game. Why wouldn't you grind it, right? Not like you have much of a choice. Yeah, and Abu once again missing out on the... kill. Benoit actually crit killing the left one, though. That is Bay. So luckily Marin is about to get, like, a lot stronger, which is kind of what we were waiting for, to, like, hit up a couple enemies and stuff. Because right now, obviously, she's pretty damn weak. The main goal here is to get to the part where Marin is not as weak as she is. This should be the last one, and we can actually just go ahead and kill on rush. It's really not that big an issue. The main thing with this lair is that Marin really can't deal any damage, and it counterattacks, which is horrible. I forgot that it counterattacks. So this is losing us a lot of time here. The way that works is they basically counterattack all the way until you're done, so to speak. So until one of the two is dead, or until you run out of actions for the turn. Because yes, you can run out of actions for the turn. It's a thing. I don't know why. I assume it's got to do with, like, the script of RPG Maker not being able to handle these infinite fights. But that's how it is. Alright, so we cleared all the enemies. We get to leave now. Yay. And we're finally gonna get a better weapon for Marin, which is so hella necessary. So we talk to him. And this guy's essentially just going to talk to us about how he thinks that we can't change anything. And we're at nearing the 33-minute mark here. And he is actually going to train Marin in a little fighting sport called the Umbrella. Now, I respect Indy for making an umbrella an actual weapon that I am considering as good. Like, I am sincerely convinced that this umbrella works, and that alone is insane. So kudos on that department. Good job on making it so that I actually think that an umbrella is a good weapon. So now we're going to ask Jezebel if she knows how to fight. We need to find her her griffin. They're gonna risk it. Yay! Done. Alright, so we're going to go and get her griffin. Yay! But first, another cutscene with Borgon. This is also the first time we meet Meryl, I think. Meryl. Blech. God, Meryl. Nobody likes Meryl. All my homies hate Meryl. So we are proceeding. Now, you would be forgiven if you're gonna make an obvious mistake here and head straight south. Out of the village. We actually have to go eastwards this way. We can cycle up here, and then we continue up north. Now, we're not gonna equip Jezebel with anything yet. We're gonna equip her with new stuff, with new equipment later, and you'll see later why that is. Now, these I actually wasn't planning to fight these, although Marin with her double attack does easily take out these enemies, but they only grant like 500 XP, and the enemies we're gonna fight later on are gonna have easily more than 1000 XP per fight. So it's kind of like a question: do you want to bother? Now you can see that ladder down left there. We passed it. If you notice that ladder, that actually leads to another secret room or another section. I don't know which of the two it is. Obviously we're ignoring that for now. Now what you could do is you could do the same thing as we did with D, namely take Jezebel out of the party because she's not really that useful right now. In the party, she's not really doing much, but she's also really not slowing us down that badly that we would need to take her out. So I generally leave her in. She's useful in some situations, and really Marin's Shiva promotion should guarantee that you are doing fine. So it's all good. We're probably gonna get ambushed here. No, we're not. Okay. I see single tile passages and I think ambush. That is a common RPG concept, I think. I'm pretty sure there's a static enemy there if you play on normal speed. Like normal visible enemies, I mean. Alright, so we're gonna continue here. We're gonna pass through here. This orb is actually mandatory, so that's the first. That's why you don't want to have found another one by now. If you have found one more, it will actually display a little dialogue stating that you found 2 total, which is gonna obviously slow you down. I mean, oh my god, that is gonna slow you down significantly. We're gonna find 17 gold coins. Yay. So glad that the run got interrupted for that. Alright, so we're back in the woods, and it's time to continue north. Yep, and then to the west. There really isn't much to say about like the path finding, because the arrows do kind of tell you like where to go. Like they're quite literally right there to tell you, oh hi, this is the path that you need to take. We managed to surprise the enemy, which is good because these monkeys are hellish. They have pretty good avoidance rates, and they have this skill that lets them attack all party members like 5 times total attacks. So yeah, I don't like the monkeys all that much. So we're just like trying to wade our way around, and this is a horrible section because we have to grab these orbs. We can't ignore these orbs, and it's horrible. Ugh. God. I hate having to pick up those orbs because they like the I don't know. It just bothers me an irrational amount that we can't avoid them. Now we're in the Schumann cave. I don't know if you can jump at any part here to cut to save time. That would be something that would be interesting in trying testing later on. As in if this current run isn't good enough. But I can say that I'm particularly interested in... okay, so here's a mandatory basket. Well, it's not really mandatory, but you would have to, like, press down and then walk over it. And don't even know if you can avoid it, but the point is, like, it's a basket. Man's gonna talk about what there is to talk about. So the only downside to invisible enemies to me is, well, A, you can get spammed by them if you're unlucky, and B, if you don't know they're coming, so you could be unprepared, or you could be not ready to actually press a button. Where with visible enemies, you always know they're coming, you can see them, so you can kind of just prepare. Okay. So we're in the icy lands now. Fun. We're gonna have another dialogue with Borgon. And we're slowly approaching the 40-minute mark. Now that cave is going to be empty if I... No, oh crap, no, that was a cave. I have to go to that's Gigantine's cave. And now a dinosaur is attacking us. Interesting. They're just gonna kill the dinosaur because I want to see how much XP he gives. He gives us 200 XP, so that is absolutely terrible. Okay, cool. So we enter this cave and we collect Pew Pew before the 40-minute mark, which is actually pretty good. And now we're in Gigantine's lair. So, yeah. We're gonna stick to the wall so that we can avoid that basket. We're gonna avoid these enemies. Like, if it's a giant troop, we're just gonna ignore them. If it's one singular enemy, then we can kind of consider maybe fighting it. Like, if it looks like it's gonna be fast enough. Stick to the wall, and then we're here, and then now we're just gonna, so we're just gonna jump. That orb is sadly unmissable, so... And now you can tell that we're actually the size of the world map, which is kind of funny. That's just how big this place is meant to be. And we can actually ride the winds here. And then Bogdan's right here. Now, talking to him loses you a lot of time, so we're not doing it. This is a wave of enemies, but we don't actually have to do it. The ladder doesn't lead anywhere, so just ignore it. And honestly, if you're lucky, you don't even have to do anything. You can just keep going. Alright, so now the important part here is that you don't actually run into Gigantine, because that, like, costs you so much time. And, like, she is entirely unbeatable, right? And the way we are right now, she is entirely unbeatable. So we're actually gonna pass by here real quick, nearing 42 minutes. Promotion, we are going to promote Abu, and we're gonna promote Jezebel, which is fine, and then we're gonna ask for a heal for 10 gold coins. That is obviously a lot faster than healing at the inns, which is why we've been waiting this long to heal. And I don't actually know what Abu's promotion does by heart, because it's one where you needed the emblem from Millennium 1 to actually get his promotion. Now, I don't know what it does. It's just sad reality. I legitimately don't. Alright, so here we are. An ancient temple. That's my cat. I don't know if anyone could hear that, but that scared me. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to talk to Norman. Now here's the thing. Norman is actually going to ask us to gather tech parts for him. We're going to collect that orb. You don't actually have to collect that. I keep thinking that's the way back, but it's not. And now here comes a string of unmissable fights. So you have to fight these fights. And that is why I've been saying since like an hour ago that we really don't have to bother with most of the random encounters, because there's going to be enough forced encounters that give a lot more XP in this one section than there has been in the rest of the game. So yeah. So, and all these enemies are pretty damn easy too, because of Marin's Shiva promotion. Marin's Shiva promotion essentially makes this game a lot easier, and it's why I always recommend Shiva promotion over the other one. Don't even know what the other one's called. I've never even used it in the game, I think. No, I've definitely used it because I know that I prefer Shiva. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to know that. But you get my point. Like, I really wouldn't recommend not using Shiva. The double attacks are just so useful with the umbrella. Even if other characters like hit a bit harder normally. Yeah. So right here, we're actually in a pretty rough situation. But Abu does get the instant kill there, and Jezebel does not matter. This guy crits us on Benoit, which is really annoying. But you gotta realize these guys give 970 XP for that fight. Like that troop gives us 970 XP, which is, you know, that's a lot of XP to get for free. So Jezebel's gonna get attacked, but we don't care about that. There's another 970 XP for the party, and then we're just gonna continue north. So, like, I'm sure that you're starting to see the rhythm that we're like moving in. It's always the same, so it's not that hard to see. So Jezebel finally dies. Sounds a bit crude, but it's kind of what we've been waiting for, because I really did not want to put her in the reserve. This means that we can revive her later on if it becomes... I'm actually just going to revive her. I don't like her. I prefer it when she's dead, but the thing is, she is pretty useful later on, so I kind of don't want to, like, have to, like, suffer just because she is a low level when she could be a high level. And then, like, she would only be a low level because I didn't actually bother. And I don't want that, so. That is the logic being applied here. If you don't like that logic, deal with it. The reason I keep Jezebel in the party is because she's pretty damn useful on the actual, the ancient cave, and then later on the crystal mountaintop. She's actually pretty damn useful here. So we leave this place at the 45-minute mark, and we go all the way up. We go in here, and we're here at 45:38. So we're really pushing towards that sub 1 hour run of Millennium 2. Which is pretty much the target goal here. Sub 1 hour is definitely the goal. Keep in mind, this isn't with like very elaborate strategies. This is also glitchless, if that wasn't obvious. We haven't abused a single glitch so far. So, yeah. I mean, there's not much else to talk about. Like, the Crystal Crown is not a difficult portion of the game. But some of the enemies are a little bit more tedious than others. So, it can be a little bit confusing. And if you don't have the guiding arrows, you kind of just have to know where to go. Which is definitely not all that intuitive, even if the game wants to pretend that it is. And this is also the portion of the game... Wow, we actually double miss. A double miss. That is not okay. That is not okay. We double miss with Marin. Okay, so we bounce here. Kind of confused that we didn't get attacked. I guess it's later that you get attacked while jumping. At some point, Marin's also going to comment how beautiful it is here. And I will admit, this place is designed rather nicely. Alright, so I'm actually going to go ahead and summon Jean here. Not because we need Jean per se, but because, first of all, we can cure the cold. You'll notice that there is a lovely bug in this game. If you summon Jean after talking to Professor Norman, he like what, how do you say that? The image of her face is going to be Professor Norman's instead of Jean's face, which is pretty comical, really. Alright, so this is where the interesting part of the game actually starts. You'll notice that we hit something, but it wasn't this Kiwi thing. No, it was the thing behind the Kiwi, which you didn't actually get to see, but you'll notice that we got 1,100 XP. Now, I'm not going to spoil where that XP came from. I'm funny. We're not going to spoil where that XP came from. We are going to go ahead and give Jezebel equipment now. Because until now, we actually haven't done that. Because, well, I know why. You don't have to know why. But the point is, we're now going to give her the reflex glove, which is actually going to let her attack the same target twice. Now, that might not sound very useful. Okay, why would you want to attack the same target twice? Well, first of all, there's pretty good reasons for it. Second of all, deal with it. Now, these things actually deal quite a lot of damage for being tiny little crabs. And if you pay attention, like, they actually look the exact same as the crabs that we fought in the beginning. But, like, one of them gives about 1,000 XP. And while level is not the most important in this particular game, level definitely is not the most important, but the final boss is not as easy as the rest. So if you go in without, like, leveling at all, like, period, no leveling whatsoever, then I do predict that you're gonna have, like, some troubles. Because the game might be easy, it's not... Yeah, it's not exactly that easy. I just messed up massively by clicking the wrong heal. That wasted my time. Marin is gonna comment that she sees a snowman. We're gonna bop up and down on these things. That was the game for what it's worth. That wasn't me messing up... That wasn't me messing up movement. That was the game, which makes you go back and forth to show that she landed harshly. So our sub 1 hour run is starting to look a little bit difficult. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I legitimately do not know if we're gonna make it. If we do make it, it's gonna be incredibly close. The set encounter here is also not there, interestingly enough. And we accidentally collect this orb, which is gonna slow us down so much. So normally there's an encounter somewhere around here against a lot of those crabs. It's kind of weird seeing this game. Like, I'm getting the vibe that this game was made with, like, encounters kept in mind. Alright, so we're gonna time it here because we have reached the final boss. Yeah, this is the final boss of the game. So now we're basically just gonna go ahead. We're gonna heal up and... we're going to use this, which is going to level up the entire party exactly once. It's the only copy of that I have. And we're going to give Marin some extra HP. That is for a good reason. Alright. So now we're going to talk to him and we're going to fight. Alright. So what you want to do here is you want to call Jean. And then other than that, you really just want to focus everyone else on the side enemies. It doesn't really matter too much because the side enemies aren't that strong. Especially the Kiwi up top there is not all that scary. The only thing that we do really need to do is we need to have... Jean focus on killing the extra enemies first. And then once that's done, we're going to have to focus on killing the, well, the boss. The big guy here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to attack with blue sparkles. Not going to do much, but it's going to deal some extra damage here. And this is where the real fight starts. So, okay. So the goal of this fight is essentially to keep this thing either tamed or angry. And both of them are pretty much very possible. Both of them are very valid methods. If he's angry, then he will take more damage and whatnot. If he's tamed, then that works too. Now, what you can do is you can use Red Orb to actually power up the entire team. And I can't really say with confidence that that is helping a lot. But it does boost your attack. And as we all know, boosting attack always helps. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to attack once again. Okay, so blue shrapnel is actually... Okay, so we finally reached the part where I wanted to get. Which is the part where Jean actually runs out of... attacks at some point. And then once she does, you actually start being able to just brute force into the Griffin King. With Jean just there to heal, and you can just spam through it at this point. And then Benoit and Abu, ideally Benoit and Abu take care of the Griffins. If they don't, no issue. The Griffins themselves aren't that important, and if they do inflict an important debuff, we can just cure it off with Jean right away. So we are really just like trying to brute force our way. And that crit is going to be so important. That crit is going to be so important. Every crit we get at this stage in the game is going to be so ridiculously important. We just need to rush through this fight. We've had the entire setup go right for us for once. That is not something I'm used to. We get the Angry again. The Angry is the most important debuff, that like the most important status that we have. He has Mad Shout, which I think inflicts cold, or like he has Mad Shout, Demented Shout, 2 skills. Demented Shout actually slows the entire team down by inflicting cold, which is bad. But it is what it is. Okay, so right here you can tell Marin's red orb actually runs out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use red orb again, so that we keep our pressure. You'll notice these two on the right, they revive again. They revive every single time, basically. Like, there's really not much you can do about it. They keep reviving. And realistically, the only thing you can do about it is rush. Or you have to start manually selecting them as targets, but I don't like doing that, because it takes a lot of time. So, the big guy is once again going to be angry. And now we're going to get hit with Snowstorm, Holy Explosion, and a physical attack. So we're blinded and we're cold now, which is obviously not what we want. But here's the thing, we can't actually cure blind, I think. I didn't manage to read the entire thing. This hasn't happened in the entire time that I was preparing for this run. So let this be where it actually goes wrong for us. Yeah, no, that doesn't include blinding. Okay, so we're just gonna have to have faith that Marin will break out of being blind fast enough for us to not lose the entire run, because come on, we've gotten too far in this. No, not Psychic, Red Orb. We've gotten too far in this run to now lose to being blinded. Come on. Come on. We can do. Okay. The blindness is gone. The blindness is gone. Now a little debuff would have been nice there. Okay. So we get colded this time around, so we need to go ahead and remove cold, and then these guys are going to come back once again for the next round in the fight. Gonna hit him for quite a lot again. He's gonna miss. Gonna get a heal. Gonna get another rush. So our sub 1 hour run is looking very unlikely at this point. It's gonna be like an hour and a little bit. That's pretty painful as like an end result of such a good run so far. Scrape up some time here and there. Probably possible to do sub 1 minute run if you do everything perfectly. Probably like if you like hit an enemy, one enemy more here, an enemy less there. And now he does the one thing that really hurts the absolute most in the entire run, namely he goes ahead and he uses Demented Shout, which is going to paralyze both Abu and Benoit. So yeah, this thing has a load of HP. Like, if that wasn't obvious by now, this thing's HP is through the roof. And realistically, the only thing that we've got to deal with it is what we're doing right now. So okay, and there we go. He revives his little side characters once again. Like, this guy really loves reviving his sidemen. Which is bad for me and good for him, I guess. Okay, so we managed to actually tame him, which seems less important than... Oh god, and we're blinded again. Okay, so we do actually have one way to handle blind. I just clicked double slap for some reason. Not what you're meant to do, but... Although double slap does, like, cause you to have one more turn. And it's the same result, so technically speaking, you do actually gain something from using double slap here, because you spend one less turn blinded, because of how the game works, how the mechanics of the game work. Because that's one turn and then another turn and then you hit. Okay, so we actually avoid the paralysis, and these other two, they're still paralyzed, so they've been paralyzed literally for the entire last part of the fight. Now, the thing in the back, the Griffin in the back is actually still tamed, so we have no reason to actively go after him, but Jezebel does kill him in the end, so that's fine. And now we're gonna, okay, what, nice crit. Now, can these two please stop being paralyzed? Come on, they've been paralyzed for the entire fight. And I know paralysis wears off normally. It's not a permanent status. I know it's not. Alright, so we managed to paralyze the king. Yay. We're really starting to... Alright, Abu's back in the fight. That's good. Come on. Okay. I should have said that killing this thing counts as like... Should have said that killing this thing counts as ending the run. I don't know why I went with import save. That would have been a lot nicer to see that sub 1 hour run. But, you know, it's just not... Yeah, it's just not what I said would count as a completed run. So it's not what we're gonna do. Like, we're doing this fairly. Alright, so far so good still. I mean, this thing's gonna die eventually. That's the thing. And I know we're not, like, we're definitely not dealing the amount of damage to it that I want to be dealing to it, but I really can't deal more damage than this. In this run. It's just not how it works. There we go. Oh my god. Oh my god. I told you, sub 1 hour. Sadly, the run's not over yet. We have to do a little bit more dialogue, and we're just not... No, it's just we don't have time for this. So, there we go. The 1 hour mark has been hit as we progress into the final section of the game, the cutscene. This makes the small mistakes I've made throughout the run a lot more painful, for the most part, because if we hadn't made these small mistakes, we actually would have been able to finish the game at the sub 1 hour mark. Yeah. Well, I actually don't know if we would have been able to, because we did get pretty lucky, like, near the end. Like, not gonna lie, like, we did get pretty lucky, like, near the end. Alright, so she's like basically mentioning that the Griffin wants to be free. And then once we're here, we're actually gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep walking all the way to Greengrass to the house, and that is where that's where we're gonna end the game. Whew. Wow, what a run. 1 hour and like about 2 minutes. 1 hour, 1 minute 30. Well, I mean, the game's not over yet. There's gonna be a final cutscene too, which is gonna take another little bit of time. I really should have said that it ends when you beat the final boss, but that just did not feel right. So, yeah. The game's almost finished, though. Just mashing C here to continue. Alright, and now she's gonna keep talking. Talk. So 1 minute 2 so far. I don't know what's taking so long. Like, it's loading something. I know it is, but you know, I was genuinely terrified that the game crashed or something. That would have actually made me cry at this point. At this point, that would have definitely made me cry. Like, that would have been horrible if it crashed now. I could live with it a lot, but the game crashing now, this far in, this, like, right before we have to save and end the game, that would have hurt a lot. So it's almost over. That's the only... So Benoit is saying that he'll be the fifth warrior, because He believes in him and blah 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 blah. And then Merlin is gonna point out that she wants to help too. Yay! It's not like Merlin's not gonna enroll as a fighter. That's the only thing we do know. That's not gonna happen. Alright, so that should be the end of the game. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, yes, yes. You know, you all did a great job. Truly, I swear you all did a great job. But I really want to get to the save point here, so that we can finally end this run. Because honestly, my voice is getting cracked from talking for an hour straight. Big respect to people who can, like, speedrun a game that is much longer than this at the same energy, or even more energetically, honestly. Big respect to streamers who can do this for, like, hours on end. Yeah. We're nearing the 1 minute and 1 hour 5 mark. Okay. Save. And that's that. That's that. At 1 hour, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, we clock in. The run is over. 1 hour, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Whew! Technically speaking, the run ended at 1 hour, 4 minutes and 18 seconds. But I suppose that's just a detail. I don't really care whether it's 2 seconds slower or not. That is up to the people in charge to decide. Oh my god. Whew, okay, well, I'm not gonna like make a long ending, and my voice is tired as hell. But yeah, that was the run. Pretty fun run, and that's all that I'm gonna say about it, I think. Cheers.